night, which I sometimes wake up at 3, get up, get a glass of water, come back, and lie down. And I start thinking about my life. And I start thinking about where I've been. I've moved quite a few times, New York, Colorado, Florida. I think about why I made that move. And I'm thinking, okay, was it a better job offer? Did I have a conflict with my superior? Why did I make that move? Who was, in fact, responsible for assisting me or generously helping me in that position, to people I should be grateful to? So what am I doing when I go over my life that way and think about each move and how I got there? Is that critical thinking?
Well, it depends on the purpose. The way that you've described it,
There's no purpose.
I would consider that critical thinking if you're working something out, or if you are learning something in the process about yourself, maybe something you'd like to do differently, or something that you think you did pretty well. You're following out the implications of your thinking, sort of going backwards, which is sort of interesting. But a lot of people wake up in the middle of the night and they start thinking morbid thoughts. And so what they do is they start worrying. Now, that is not critical thinking.
Yeah, I'm not worrying. I'm just sort of reflecting and thinking about it and what the deeper meaning of it is. One more question, Dr. Elder. I've enjoyed the conversation. My daughter and I had lunch today. We talked about a person getting control of their thinking and whatever. And we talked about whether or not emotions cause you to think or you control your emotions by thinking. Which one controls which?
Well, most people don't have command of their feelings. But if you understand the role of emotions, and you understand that you are going to have emotions as you go through your life every day, and when you do, those emotions or those feelings are coming from some thinking somewhere that you're doing in your life. So if you're driving down the road and you all of a sudden have a negative feeling, and the feeling is something like this: I feel trapped. I feel like I can't get out of this situation. I feel like there's nothing I can do to get out of this situation. There's nothing. So you start going over this, how you're trapped in your mind. You feel yourself being trapped. But what people don't realize is that it is the thinking that you are doing that is trapping you, often, if not usually, not the actual circumstances of your life.
Interesting. Dr. Elder, thank you for your time. I mentioned the book again, 30 Days to Better Thinking and Better Living Through Critical Thinking. And the website again, please?
criticalthinking.org.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
All right. Okay. I'll have to play that one back and listen to it myself. There's a lot pretty deep stuff in there.
There certainly was.
For country boys like you and me. We'll take a break. We'll come back, and we'll tell you about some of the odd facts I've stumbled on today. We got tweets and quotes coming up. I think Brad Keselowski has got a classic, by the way. And we'll check the news right after this time out on the Voice of Ocala.
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Since 1976, Daniel L. Hightower, a lawyer, has been fighting for accident victim justice in North Central Florida and statewide. He believes everyone in America should follow the rules, including the insurance companies. He and his firm have experience fighting for victims of personal injury, wrongful death, workers' compensation, and Social Security disability, as well as serving those in need of help with bankruptcy, simple wills, and estate plans. The mission at the law offices of Daniel L. Hightower, PA, is to represent deserving clients and recover the maximum benefits they are entitled to by law in a timely manner. In personal injury and workers' compensation cases, there are no fees or costs unless a recovery is made. The law office of Daniel L. Hightower is located at 7 East Silver Springs Boulevard, Suite 300. For your free consultation, call 352-629-7777 or 1-888-LAW-1976 and visit danhightower.com for more information. Daniel L. Hightower, PA lawyer, fighting for accident victim justice, and the proud sponsor of Ask the Cops.
This reprise of Ask the Cops is proudly brought to you by Daniel L. Hightower, PA lawyer, fighting for accident victim justice since 1976.
What is the city police and the county sheriff department's procedure on off-duty officers having their service revolvers on or near them?
With the police department, they're required to carry their weapons at all times, unless they're going to be out where they're going to consume alcohol, then we tell them not to carry them. But if they're out and about, they're required to carry their firearms.
And same here with the sheriff's office. You know, I mean, we're law enforcement officers 24/7, and we're sworn to uphold the law. So, it's, you know, we may have to take action at any given time. So certainly, they should have their firearms with them.
Hi, this is Buddy Martin. Listen to my show weekdays from 3 to 6 right here on the Voice of Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA.
The Source.
In Clark, we trust.
Hi, this is Clark Howard. Join me every weeknight at 6, right here on WOCA 1370, The Source.
Howdy, folks. RL here to invite you to Dairy Queen for a great new meal. Dairy Queen's now serving 3 different $5 meals. Hot dogs with chili, cheese, slaw, whatever. Quarter pound with cheese, loaded up any way you like it. Solid filet chicken tenders. And each meal comes with fries, a drink, and a sundae for only $5. You got that right. Nobody beats that deal. A great value and a great meal. So come on down to Dairy Queen at Silver Springs, where they always treat you like kings and queens.
This is a public notice. Local residents can now save thousands of dollars on their next car, truck, or SUV. It's not a tent sale, because no tent is big enough to hold this many cars. It's ocalaforsale.com. Say goodbye to sticker shock. Ocalaforsale.com has thousands of vehicles with no stickers at all. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to ocalaforsale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
This is Don with ABC Fredericks Appliance. Here's my daughter, Lena.
And hey, everybody, it's Lena. You need to come down to ABC Fredericks Appliance on County Road 25, just over the railroad tracks in Bellevue, where you are treated right with the right products, like Whirlpool, Maytag, Crosley, and Speed Queen. These are the new ones. Don't forget, we also carry used appliances that we warranty. ABC Fredericks Appliance does repairs, too. Call us at 629-5181. ABC Fredericks Appliance on County Road 25, just over the railroad tracks in Bellevue. It's at 629-5181.
News Talk 1370, WOCA invites you to discover your full business potential. News Talk Radio is the perfect environment for your advertising. WOCA's News Talk format pinpoints information-hungry, better educated, high-income adults, so use us to talk to them. Call 732-8000, 732-8000. We're Ocala News Talk Radio. News Talk 1370, WOCA.
Hi, I'm Ernie Sprantz. Join me weekday mornings at 10:50 for Report to Consumers. Consumer news you can use from your hometown station. News Talk 1370, WOCA.
If it happens in Ocala, you'll hear it first on WOCA. News Talk 1370.
This is Tom Schmitz live in the WOCA studios with this news break brought to you by Rinstar Medical Research. The Florida Department of Education says it will release the results of the FCAT 2.0 writing and third grade FCAT 2.0 reading and mathematics assessments at 10 a.m. this Friday. Other FCAT results will be released in the coming weeks. This news break was brought to you by Rinstar Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. Call 352-629-5800 for more information.
John at the bar is a friend of mine.
All right, welcome back to the program. Touching up on the headlines a little bit here. 2 suspects arrested in that horrible hacking of a British soldier. And, you know, as Tom said earlier, it was just disgusting to watch that guy there with blood on his hands.
I thought they shot him.
Hacked him to death.
No, I thought the police shot them. That's what I heard. The police shot those 2 guys in the street.
They shot them? So
yes.
It said here they had 2 suspects.
Yeah, they came at them with their weapons. They shot them. That's
I didn't see that yet. All I see is what I've got right in front of me, which is that the last they heard, they had 2 arrests. Now, is that up? If it's been updated, let me know.
There's been 2 arrests other than the 2. Yesterday, they shot the guys that had the machetes.
Yeah, there are 2 other suspects.
Right. They shot them.
Well, they had one guy on holding up his bloody hands and showing with his...
Yeah, but he got shot right after that.
Well, he deserved it.
All those videos were taken while they're... Because they don't have guns there.
The police...
So it takes them especially long time to get there with the gun unit of their police force.
The police that showed up... The
NRA loves that.
The bobbies that showed up were unarmed, so they just had to...
Sit there
and wait until the actual armed police could show up.
That's the thing. Nobody in that country has guns.
So
everybody's sitting there watching a guy with guns and knives behead somebody, and nobody can do anything.
I think I'd be some mace or something, you know.
That's not going to help.
Yeah, but
anything can help.
Yeah, but no.
Not when somebody has a gun.
One guy had a gun, the other guy had a meat cleaver and a machete.
I saw the guy with the meat cleaver.
Yeah, and one gun had the gun. That's how he was keeping everybody at bay while the other guy. And so, what are you going to do? You run up and mace somebody who's going to shoot you?
No, I'm saying I would certainly use anything I could. I'd throw a brick at him if I could, whatever. But, I mean, it's a horrible story.
Or if you lived in America, you'd be armed and you could just shoot him, and he wouldn't do, there you go.
There's no beheadings in the streets here.
You won't have somebody beheaded in the street.
I wouldn't say none.
I've never heard about one.
Oh, I'm sure there have been.
I promise you, out of the hundreds of people, or the 50 or 60 people that witnessed this, if it was in America, one of those 50 or 60 would have had a gun, and that would have stopped.
Well, something to get your car and run over them or something.
And cops would have gotten there a lot faster with weapons.
With guns.
Yeah.
It was London. It's not.
Waiting on that story, by the way, to find out what the Boy Scouts are going to do. It's a very controversial story about allowing gay members of the Boy Scouts, which people are waiting for the answer on that particular issue. I haven't heard any more about the Jodi Arias trial, although
the jury is still hung.
I know
they were hung.
They came out and asked a question, and they went back into sequester again. So I don't know, but I mean,
my problem is she's done another. She's done another TV interview. Why is the sheriff of Maricopa County allowing her to just continue doing these TV interviews?
I don't know the policy there. Obviously, it's different. Something different. I want to get to this as a sports story, but it's not a sports story because it's gotten beyond that now. And you just have to wonder how ignorant somebody could be not to realize that saying something as offensive as the head of the European tour said is not a total, not just racial slur, but a total blunder. A total blunder. You guys heard about this?
No.
Oh, my gosh. George O'Grady, speaking to Sky Sports about the incident, says, "We know the connotation in the United States. We accept all races on the European tour. We take it very strongly." Now listen to this. So far, so good, right?
Yeah.
Most of Sergio's friends are colored athletes in the United States.
I love
and he
that.
is absolutely abject in his apology, and we accepted it.
I love that. Like, I got black friends, man. I could not possibly.
But he didn't say black.
Color. Well, that's...
No, it's not the same thing.
I mean,
it's
he
absolutely...
obviously didn't mean it like that.
Doesn't, hey, so
They're not from here,
Sergio.
buddy.
I'm sorry. Get up with it.
I had this discussion.
My 90-something-year-old great aunt said colored all the time.
Well,
nobody had.
That's still not right.
I had this.
The point is, in this particular case, after the sensitivity that we know is, everybody's watching it now, when Sergio absolutely made a total blunder and is going to pay for it dearly, and has been on his knees groveling for forgiveness, and he'll never get it completely. Is that you think that's bad enough, but to have the head of the European tour come back and make a remark like that is totally offensive, stupid, vulgar, and all those things.
I'm more
that's
offended
my take
that
on it. There's no excuse
I'm
for
more
it.
offended that he used that lame excuse than said colored. Oh, wow, he's
JJ,
got black
you
friends.
ask a black person. That is
So
the most
dumb.
offensive thing you
I
can
know,
say.
but the way I look at it is they're not even from this country.
So?
They don't know that.
Wait, here's
How
the
does it make
thing.
you
If he
okay?
knew that, why would he say that?
Here's the thing.
That's ignorance.
I talked yesterday to a friend of mine that is from Spain that lives here. I talked to another friend of mine that's black that lives here. And I talked to a friend of mine that's English that lives here. And they said, the Spanish guy and the English guy said, you Americans need to relax. And here's what they said.
Yeah.
They said, we don't deal with the same racial problems y'all deal with in your country where we're from, because we didn't have slavery. And yes, it's offensive, and yes, it offends you Americans, but to say a comment about fried chicken with us in our area, when we have people that say much more offensive things by calling not African Americans, calling people of color monkeys and throwing bananas at them and stuff at soccer games and all, and that's not even looked on as that bad of a deal. It's a different culture, a different thing. It's very offensive to us as Americans. It's not offensive around the world, like I would or at least according to these two guys, it's not as offensive around the world. And I don't understand that, because it is offensive in America. But I understand what they said because we had the slavery issue here, and we had black people of color who were put in shackles and beaten in public and everything. So it's very offensive to us as Americans, but maybe not as offensive to the world as we would like it to be.
The last time I looked, Sergio Garcia played on the PGA Tour in this country.
He plays on both tours.
Excuse me. He plays on the PGA Tour in this country.
Right.
This
is
issue,
a European Tour event.
I don't care what the European
listen,
event.
NAACP stands for National Advancement of Color
Time out.
People.
Let me make this point. I've listened to Tom's whole point now. He plays on the PGA Tour.
Yes, he does.
The PGA Tour has a very strong policy about this and has made examples of people.
They certainly have.
Fuzzy Zeller's career was ruined because he said,
I don't even know who that is.
well, that doesn't make it. Well, that's your bet.
That's the point.
That's your bet. So, I mean, it's the point. The point is there's precedence for it. We know what the precedence is. Al Campanis. I watched him live on television. Long-time loyal servant to the Brooklyn/L.A. Dodgers. A wonderful man.
In a minute and a half, career
went on
ruined.
and ruined his career, talking about the difference in blacks athletes and white athletes. Jimmy the Greek Snyder made the same kind of comparison in a taped interview. Ruined his career. Why do you think that happened?
Because it's offensive to America.
Okay, thank you. That's what I want to say.
But
I don't care about what they say over in Europe
But the
or
thing
wherever
is,
else. I don't care.
The thing is, I heard somebody say that Tim Finchem should suspend Sergio for this and everything. It didn't happen at a PGA Tour event.
I didn't say anything about suspension by Tim Finchem.
No, I understand.
I'm talking about right and wrong, period.
But it's what we as Americans perceive as right and wrong.
Tom, I just gave you the examples of 3 people whose careers
but
were
they
ruined.
were all careers in America.
I'm talking about America.
But
he plays on the PGA Tour.
But he also plays on the European Tour. His career could be over here,
Yeah.
but it's not going to be over because he still has.
Okay, well then enjoy
the
your
European
time in
Tour.
Spain, Sergio. That's where you'll wind up playing.
No, he's going to play. I guarantee you he'll play
I know.
here again.
Okay, I guess history. You're a historian. I thought you'd know better, but I guess you don't. So.
No, it's not about knowing better, buddy. It's about you don't understand. We only think of it through American
I don't
eyes.
have to think about it through anybody else's eyes.
But that's just for you to say that. That's an American elitist view.
Excuse me. I'm a journalist. I covered those stories. I wrote about those
They were
stories.
American
Excuse me.
stories.
I wrote about those stories. I'm very aware of what happened in them. All right?
In
And
America.
So, where do you live, Tom?
I didn't say I wasn't offended by it, but
Do you live in Europe?
Everybody's saying that this is such a that Sergio crossed a line. He crossed a line in America.
Good. That's what I'm saying. That's what I've been saying for the last 15 minutes.
He didn't.
I don't care where he is over there. I don't care.
But that don't you think that's a very elitist American
I think
attitude?
it's my viewpoint, my myopic viewpoint as an American, as it applies to golf played in this country on the PGA Tour and what has happened in sports in America in the last 25 years. That is what I think it is.
Okay.
And that's my point. I don't care about what they think about it in Madagascar or Europe or any place else. He did an absolutely stupid thing, and for the
Without a
head
doubt.
of the European Tour to make a statement like that is not only embarrassing, it's pure ignorance.
But if it's pure ignorance to us as Americans, it may not be pure ignorance
I
to
don't
Europeans.
think we need to have this discussion any longer. I keep telling you, I don't care about the other part. I'm talking about in this
But
country.
he doesn't. The European chief doesn't come into this country. He's only worried about.
You think
Europe.
they don't work together on the PGA Tour and the European Tour? Are you kidding me? Come on.
Look, buddy, we're not the be-all, end-all of the world of political correctness.
Well, then you
America
give it-
doesn't
okay.
set the guidelines
Well, you
for
know
what
what?
everybody around the
You
world
got
can
your
say.
global view. I'll take America. I'm going to take a break. 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA is the source. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And so is State Farm agent Angie Lewis, working hard to serve her community as a citizen and insurance agent. Angie wants to help you as you adjust your insurance needs to your life. From everything to helping educate your teen driver to protecting your family against everyday risk. She wants to change the way you perceive insurance by developing relationships with her clients, which is why Angie and her staff are proud to be a part of so many good causes in Ocala. In turn, she has chosen to single out those who step up as leaders. Each month on the Voice of Ocala, Angie spotlights a good neighbor, saluting those who give exceptional service or do random acts of kindness to others. For this, Angie was written up in State Farm's National Magazine. Angie also supports local businesses with a regular Biz Buzz. The Angie Lewis State Farm Agency is located at 1122 Northeast 36th Avenue, where visitors are always welcome and the coffee pot is always on. Call your good neighbor's State Farm agent today, Angie Lewis, at 294-2444. Recently, I had a great conversation with General Manager Pat Murray on the special events at Country Club of Ocala.
We have a lot of events, special events here that are geared towards the family. Easter comes to mind. We have an Easter bunny who hops around on the driving range. We usually hide somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000 eggs and turn them loose and let them go harvest the eggs. We have a great family celebration here on the 4th of July where it's a traditional cookout, if you will. And as the sun goes down, the driving range becomes alive with probably one of the better fireworks displays in the area. Breakfast with Santa is a big deal.
Country Club of Ocala, where the Easter Bunny, Santa, and all the children, large and small, are a big deal on every special occasion. For more information, call 352-237-6644. That's 352-237-6644. Country Club of Ocala, proud sponsor of the Monday Gator Report right here on The Source.
On the next AM Ocala Live, Robin and I will be speaking to Marissa Zapiri Caruana. She's a registered nurse and has been diagnosed with systemic lupus. She also is a contributor to MSNBC, the Chicago Tribune, and Christianity Today. She's coming on to speak to us about lupus.
Open for debate where you get to choose the topic.
And then a brand new show here on WOCA. Jim George will be hosting it. He's the owner of American Cable Services, and he'll be telling you how to turn a room in your home into a theater.
Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and author Michael D'Antonio will be on the air. He'll be speaking about his new book, Mortal Sins, Sex Crime in the Era of Catholic Scandal.
Ocala Magazine Radio will be on with your host, John Sotomayor. John is the executive editor of Ocala Magazine.
Sharon Berkman-Fink is the developer of the Berkman Method. She's going to tell us about her method in her new book, The Berkman Method.
And then Stephen Josephs will be with us. He's an executive coach and a mind-body disciplinarian. All of that plus fun with Joe, with Dan, on the next AM Ocala Live right here on The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM.
1370 AM.
Accident, injured, hurting. Pain affects so many of us and keeps us from enjoying our daily routine. This is Dr. Riyad Fakuri, board-certified chiropractic orthopedist at the Fakuri Medical and Chiropractic Center. Let me visit with you to answer your questions. Let us help you help yourself on the Head to Toe Care Show every Wednesday, 11 a.m. on WOCA. Again, that's Dr. Riyad Fakuri, here to help you on the Head to Toe Care Show every Wednesday, 11 a.m. on WOCA, The Source.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, a new spoiler, and a new truck.
We can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Now for 10 years we've been on our own, and moss grows fat on a rolling stone, but that's not how it used to be. When the justice...
Welcome back to Embrace Debate. Stephen R. Smith.
Stephen A. Smith.
Excuse me, Stephen A. Smith. Well, no, this is Stephen R. It's a different cat. Stephen R. Smith and Skip Bayon. One of my listeners just texted me. Wow, that's all they said. A couple things before we go to tweets and quotes. One thing is that I was interested in the story about Marion County's growth. I always thought Marion County was about close to 400,000, but I guess it depends on whether the snowbirds are here. Story today is ocala.com. Marion County increased from 331 to 335. A little more than 1%, 331,000, 335,000. It was also grew to Ocala to 56,945, one of only 726 municipalities with 50,000 or more in 2012. I suspect it's probably going to be a little bigger this year, too, because this has been a better year economically. And Braden, moved up to 50,000 and dropped. Troy, New York, and Joplin, Missouri dropped out, according to the story. So, also, this morning on ocala.com, real quick, Chris Blair making an appeal for help, saying that his situation, that the Sheriff's Department, they don't have enough manpower and cars and what have you, asking for more. I wonder how that will play. Tomorrow on Ask the Cops, we will talk to him about that. Let's go to tweets and quotes, JJ. This is one of those sort of faux pas, almost malaprops. Listen to this one, guys. Brad Keselowski, of course in NASCAR,
correct,
on his winless season. we haven't been able to put together 2 and 3.
I don't even get it.
Well, JJ, it's normally 2 and 2.
Okay.
He's trying to get 4, and he ain't gonna get it with 2 and 3. Okay. Here's the general thought: life may not be the party we hope for, but while we're here, we should dance. And finally, this little light mood lifter from Will Ferrell. If you watch an Apple store get robbed, are you an eyewitness? All right, coming up in the Sports Hour, we'll probably not talk about Tiger and Sergio.
Why not? We talk about it so well.
We pretty well covered that subject, I think, for today. And we will talk with a man named Dave Ferguson, who's a sort of an expert on concussions. And he's got some provocative thinking about that, whether or not hockey and other sports are, there's too much contact. By the way, watching that basketball game with the bodies flying around last night, man.
Awesome game.
A great game and bodies everywhere. Dave Ferguson, sports coach, player, observer. We'll talk to him next on Sports Also. Franz Beard. And we'll catch up with you on the latest news and talk about the NBA after this time. Plus Jimbo Fisher coming up next right here on the Voice of Ocala Blaze Sports page.
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Hi, this is Lisa Midget, owner of Kinetic Motion Fitness here in Ocala, Florida. A lot of you have experienced our great classes in personal small group training, but did you know we now offer dynamic workouts on DVD? These high-quality, locally produced, effective DVD workouts can go where you go. Going on vacation? No problem. We can go with you. Friends and relatives out of town who are jealous that you get to come to KMF? No problem. We ship anywhere in the United States for free. Our great lineup of 4 DVDs includes Kinetic Achieve, Kinetic Couples, Kinetic Core, and Kinetic Campus. 4 great workouts for the entire family on DVD. Sound interesting? Check them out on our website at kmfocala.com. While you're there, check out our class schedule and come see us. We're only 5 minutes from downtown across from the Skylark Plaza. Visit kmfocala.com and like us on Facebook. KMF will get you results at our studio or at home with one of our DVDs. Kinetic Motion Fitness. We're ready when you are. Visit kmfocala.com for more information.
Relations got you down. Are you at your wit's end? Does the opposite sex just confuse you? Then I've got the solution for you, Dr. Buddy.
Well, let me just tell you what you slugs are doing wrong. Remember, dummy, it's about the chase and the romantic interludes, okay? Now, here's the difference. Instead of dinner and a movie, which seems obsolete these days, they have these random phone text, Facebook posts, instant message, and quote-unquote non-dates. Traditional courtship, which is still what women want, guys. Picking up a telephone, asking someone on a date, maybe even going as far to pick them up in your car, requires courage, strategic planning, and a considerable investment in ego.
So now you know where to tune in to get all your relationship advice. It's the Dr. Buddy Show every Monday on the Voice of Ocala. You can succeed only on 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
If you need a sign or a banner for your yard or your business or your campaign, I'd recommend you go to Signs Unlimited at 318 South Magnolia in Ocala. Screen printing, embroidery, digital graphics. Do what I did when we needed signs for the Save the Marion Theater Group. Go see Vic Buttermore at Signs Unlimited if you want quality work with a fast turnaround from somebody who is deeply committed to his community and always ready to assist you. There's a reason Vic's slogan is, it's our business to make your business better. Sign up with Signs Unlimited. Call 732-7341 today.
Call me crazy. Some people say insanity is doing the same thing over and over expecting a different result. I think insanity is 1,000 single-sided full-color business cards for $15 or packing service for 50% off. Call me crazy. Regency Printing on the corner of Northeast 25th Avenue and 24th Street. 789-6683. That's 789-6683. Look for the yellow signs.
You've got a garden and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
Don't ever miss a single edition of the Mike Huckabee Show. We're going to have a whole lot of fun talking the big issues of the day. We'll talk to the newsmakers and the issues that made them a newsmaker, as well as we'll bring you some entertainment, some fun. You never know what's going to happen on the Mike Huckabee Show. Don't miss it.
Join Mike Huckabee every weekday from noon to 3 exclusively on WOCA The Source.
Cookies, 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 cookies.
When you want something special and fun for any occasion, get cookies. That's right. The Great American Cookie Company in the Paddock Mall, Ocala will make a delicious, fun-filled delight just for you. You might notice that I said fun and delicious more than once. That's because I can't say it enough. The next time you're at the mall, be sure and stop by or call 352-237-2557 to place your order.
Cookies, cookies,
Yum.
cookies, cookies. We go cookie eating cookies.
The Great American Cookie Company.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Wear it, Florida. Times of clouds and sun, very warm but humid today with a shower or thunderstorm around this afternoon and evening. The high today 87 to 91. Partly cloudy skies later tonight, lows 65 to 70. But tomorrow, partly sunny. There may be an afternoon thunderstorm, high 88 to 92. Saturday, more sunshine, breezy and less humid. A bit cooler too, the high 81 to 86. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
WOCA. You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
ABC News Now. I'm Daria Albinger. A congresswoman says a female soldier serving in Afghanistan told her she fears her fellow troops more than she does the enemy. Lawmakers from both sides of the political aisle are coming together on new legislation to prevent sexual assaults in the military. They want to reform the Code of Military Justice, starting with the process for reporting the cases. The Boy Scouts take an important vote today, leaders to decide on a proposal that would allow gay scouts but not gay scout leaders. You may not get what you pay for when you buy sunscreen. Consumer Reports checked out some of the most popular products and found that Target, Walgreens, and Walmart's brands did just as well and in some cases better than pricier versions. Are you ready for a hurricane? Government weather forecasters say this could be a bad year with between 3 and 6 major storms. It may be a good summer to take a trip that you have to fly to. Industry watchers say they don't foresee any airfare hikes in the coming months. This is ABC News.
Here we have a rare treat, the keeper of the forest, as some have coined her. Built to carry heavy loads long distances using minimal natural resources. Her coat of iron and steel keeps her safe. You can just feel the motherly instinct she has for her surroundings.
Sometimes the best things for nature come in unexpected forms. CSX trains move 1 ton of freight nearly 450 miles on a single gallon of fuel. CSX, how tomorrow moves.
Hey, Bill, welcome to Ace. We have Miracle Grow potting mix for just $6.99 after instant savings.
Whoa, that's perfect for my wife's geraniums.
They're yours, aren't they?
Yep.
Swing by Ace this Memorial Day weekend and get Miracle Grow 2 cubic foot potting mix with fertilizer for $6.99 after $3 instant savings with your Ace Rewards card. Limit 2. Ace Rewards members who present their rewards card get savings instantly in store. Available as mail-in savings for non-Ace Rewards members. Savings available on purchases from May 24th through May 27th at participate.
How much time? 30 seconds. I'm on right now. I don't believe you.
Okay. Enough kidding around.
Ho, 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 ho.
And now it's time for the Buddy Martin Sports Page.
He actually had me stay here last night in his gym.
It's like I don't fit in. It's like I don't belong here.
Let's go talk to a couple of guys that never gamble.
Oh, see, I made Lewis a bet here. See, Lewis bet me that we couldn't both get rich and put you on the phone house at the same time. He didn't think we could do it.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slice.
And now, here's Buddy.
Hey, welcome to Buddy Sports Page on a Thursday afternoon. Coming up in this hour, we'll look at the last night's playoffs. The Miami Heat taking Game 1 against the Pacers. Also, we'll talk about concussions with one of the experts, coach, player, what have you, named Dave Ferguson. His concerns about all contact sports, as a matter of fact. And we will talk a little about what's ahead for the football team at Florida State and Tallahassee with Jimbo Fisher. We had a nice interview with Jimbo yesterday. Probably, how much you got, JJ, of that? About 10 minutes of it? How much we have?
We could get 10 minutes of it if you want.
Oh, well, we'll see how it goes. But a lot of people asked me yesterday after the interview with Fisher, about a 45-minute interview. By the way, there's a local player from here named P.J. Williams, a cornerback, that he says is going to be a starter and a heck of a player. So we'll follow him. But anyway, some of the Seminole fans who missed it said, guys, can we hear that again? So you Seminole fans who asked me, if you're listening, stay tuned. What time, JJ? 5:30 maybe?
Yes.
About 5:30 we'll play a good piece of that Jimbo Fisher, and we're going to put it on the podcast today or tomorrow, right, Tom? Is that right?
Right.
And tell them how to get that podcast link again.
You go to WOCA.com and click on when Buddy Martin's picture comes up. Don't start shouting obscenities at it. Click on it.
Yeah.
And it goes to our page, and you
like
go down
you do. Like Tom does. Don't shout out like Tom does.
Because I do.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
He actually goes home and throws grapefruit at it.
I do.
Yeah.
I've had to replace 3 computers that have shorted out because of the liquid that landed on them when I throw things at the screen.
I know. You're bad about that.
But you click on that on Buddy's picture, and it goes to our webpage, and you click on the podcast symbol halfway down the page, it takes you to our podcast post.
Okay, let's go on to the headlines, JJ, and I'm going to tell you later on, only 2 Florida schools saw an increase in alumni license plates this year. I bet you can't guess them. And we'll tell you about that. And basketball last night.
Yes.
Heat up 1-0, but it took
Barely.
a lot.
Heat up 1-0. They had the lead by 3 with only a couple seconds to play. Steal the inbound pass. Everything's going great. Then Norris Cole gives it up. And what do you know? Paul George hits an insane
What a
three
shot that
to
was.
tie the game.
This guy, you're right. He's such a good. He is really a good player.
And he made the 3rd team NBA today.
Let's be honest.
I was disappointed in.
Let's be honest. If a 93% free throw shooter hits both his free throws, it's not that close.
Exactly.
That was the big thing. Ray Allen missing 1 or 2 free throws.
Exactly. And then in overtime, Heat up by 2. Dwayne Wade with sort of a strange foul. I don't know if I really even saw him make contact, but if you go by the ball, he was obviously fouled. Paul George shooting a 3, hits all 3 of the free throws. With the Heat down by 1, 2 seconds left.
2.2.
Paul George makes a crucial mistake on the inbounds pass, sort of plays LeBron a little far over towards his right shoulder, allows LeBron to easily go to the lane without Hibbert in the game, and hits a layup.
And why wasn't Hibbert in the game? People are asking today.
Why wasn't he? That's the crucial mistake. The guy that's 7'2" that has just clogged the lane up.
For Vogel, I understand sort of. Most of the time, there's no. I didn't hear what Charles said, but most of the time, there's not going to be a. When do you ever see a layup win a game with 2 seconds left? Never. On 99% of the time, it's going to be a jump shot.
Well,
mid-range jump shot.
Vogel and Charles Barkley both said you put Hibbert in the game. LeBron drives in. Now Hibbert goes to block the shot. LeBron kicks it out to about a 16-foot jump shot for Bosch.
Fouled.
But he probably will kick it out to Bosch, who now Hibbert's not covered, and Bosch gets an open look.
And let's not
I'd rather have
like,
that than I would have.
Let's not act like Hibbert is the be-all end-all. Hibbert earlier in overtime got schooled by Chris Bosch on an offensive rebound and scored on and fouled.
Right.
Fouled him. So he's not exactly the savior that everybody's talking about.
He's big, though. He's physical.
He is big. So
I'd rather have Bosch taking a jump shot than LeBron driving the lane and laying it up off the glass.
Don't let the best player in the game get a layup.
No. That was just bad defense by Paul George to me. Also,
they played so well. That's
they did. Also, LeBron was unanimous in his All-NBA first team, along with Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, Kobe Bryant, and Tim Duncan, sort of surprising. The second team, Marc Gasol, Blake Griffin, Tony Parker, Russell Westbrook, Melo. Third team, our boy, Paul George, our other boy, Dwight Howard, David Lee,
Yeah.
James Harden and Dwayne Wade, so that's pretty
and
awesome.
Noah made the all-defensive team, too.
Yes.
Noah made the all-defensive team.
Michael Crabtree tears his Achilles. We didn't talk about this yesterday.
And Bradley Beal, I think, on the all-rookie team, I believe.
I haven't looked at that, probably. So hopefully Crabtree will be back in time. He was going to be the number 2 receiver behind Bolden this year, so it might not be a huge difference. RG3 had successful knee surgery today, and I guess, or not today.
No, he had it quite some time ago.
Yeah,
didn't he?
what did he say?
He was on the
came
field
out today.
He
Yeah,
came out today. He was on the field.
He came out. He hopes to be cleared for camp.
He said he's good. Let's say he looked good on the field.
And then how about what his dad said? His dad said,
"Yeah, well, what dad wouldn't rather have
his
that?"
dad said, "Hey, you need to not run the ball as much.
Throw more."
and actually, Shanahan came back and said the injury happened when RG3 was dropping back, not when he was running the read option. He said he gets less contact running a read option. I don't know if I agree with that, but that's what he said. So, all right, coming up in a moment, we'll talk about concussions. Again, the Jimbo Fisher interview, part of that will be played, and Franz Beard all this hour right here on Buddy's Sports Page. Stay tuned to
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Hi, this is Tom Schmitz, the host of Buddy's Saturday Sports Page on WOCA. The Saturday Sports Page is your weekend destination for everything sports, from NASCAR to golf, baseball to boxing, and of course the best, most comprehensive football coverage on the radio. Also, you don't want to miss my weekly Are You Kidding Me rant? So join me and JJ LaSalva every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. for Buddy's Saturday Sports Page on WOCA, The Source.
Hi, this is Buddy Martin for WinStar Medical Research. Every day we hear another story about innovation or about the cutting edge of technology taking place right here in Ocala. The power plant, IHMC, Ocala 489. But did you know that important medical research is also being conducted here that will impact hundreds of thousands of people in the country someday? Maybe you've heard the name WinStar, but like so many others, perhaps you didn't realize WinStar Medical Research is one of the top facilities of its kind anywhere in the U.S. There are important studies being conducted by a highly qualified team of medical experts at WinStar, impacting decisions of major pharmaceutical companies and bringing new drugs to market. And you can be a part of these studies, as so many local people are right now. WinStar has conducted more than 500 studies since its inception and would like to extend an opportunity to you to be a part of these. Call 877-629-5800 or 352-629-5800 if you'd like to know more. WinStar Medical Research, locally owned and operated in beautiful downtown Ocala. WinStar, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today.
Since 1976, Daniel L. Hightower, a lawyer, has been fighting for accident victim justice in North Central Florida and statewide. He believes everyone in America should follow the rules, including the insurance companies. He and his firm have experience fighting for victims of personal injury, wrongful death, workers' compensation, and Social Security disability, as well as serving those in need of help with bankruptcy, simple wills, and estate plans. The mission at the law offices of Daniel L. Hightower, PA, is to represent deserving clients and recover the maximum benefits they are entitled to by law in a timely manner. In personal injury and workers' compensation cases, there are no fees or costs unless the recovery is made. The law office of Daniel L. Hightower is located at 7 East Silver Springs Boulevard, Suite 300. For your free consultation, call 352-629-7777 or 1-888-LAW-1976 and visit danhightower.com for more information. Daniel L. Hightower, PA lawyer, fighting for accident victim justice, and the proud sponsor of Ask the Cops.
WOCA, News Talk 1370. Good talk, great conversation.
On the next AM Ocala Live, Robin and I will be speaking to Marissa Zapiri Caruana. She's a registered nurse and has been diagnosed with systemic lupus. She also is a contributor to MSNBC, the Chicago Tribune, and Christianity Today. She's coming on to speak to us about lupus.
Open for debate where you get to choose a topic.
And then a brand new show here on WOCA. Jim George will be hosting it. He's the owner of American Cable Services, and he'll be telling you how to turn a room in your home into a theater.
Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and author Michael D'Antonio will be on the air. He'll be speaking about his new book, Mortal Sins, Sex Crime in the Era of Catholic Scandal.
Ocala Magazine Radio will be on with your host, John Sotomayor. John is the executive editor of Ocala Magazine.
Sharon Berkman-Fink is the developer of the Berkman Method. She's going to tell us about her method in her new book, The Berkman Method.
And then Stephen Josephs will be with us. He's an executive coach and a mind-body disciplinarian. All of that plus fun with Joe, with Dan, on the next AM Ocala Live right here on The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM.
1370 AM.
Hurricane season is upon us.
WOCA and Sunbelt Rentals wants you to be prepared. Sunbelt Rentals has the equipment to help, like air nailers, aerial lifts, chainsaws, chippers, and stone grinders. They have light towers, skid steer loaders, and generators, just to name a few. Sometimes you might need a little help cleaning up afterwards. Sunbelt has the equipment you need, like dehumidifiers, pumps, sewer snakes, wet dry vacs, floor dryers, carpet equipment, and more. And right now is the time to get it done, with 2 special offers just for WOCA listeners. If you rent Friday after 3 p.m. and return it Monday before 9 a.m., you will only be charged for 1 day. Plus, just by mentioning WOCA, you get 25% off your rental. You heard right, not 5 or 10, but 25% off your rental just by mentioning that you heard it here on WOCA. But you'd better hurry. This is a limited time offer. Visit Sunbelt today on Highway 27, just half mile east of I-75. Give them a call at 369-9101 or visit them on the web, sunbelt.com.
Welcome up to the program on Buddy Sports Page. Coming up in just a minute, Coach Jimbo Fisher. I had an interview with him yesterday from yesterday's Marion County Seminole Club meeting at the Country Club of Ocala. Meanwhile, we'll shift the conversation over to the subject of sports injuries and concussions. We all know what's going on in the National Football League right now, obviously, and the pending litigation there. A larger, perhaps, problem is the fact that we have kids playing sports, and it's dangerous when you get your head dinged. It used to be one of those things you just said, got your bell rung. Well, getting your bell rung is a little more serious than they thought. So we've asked one of the experts on the subject, Dave Ferguson. He's a coach, a player, and observer. He's heavily involved as a mentor and a trainer among the sports community, and has this radio show called Beyond the Cheers to join us for a few minutes to talk about concussions. Dave, hello. Thanks for joining us. I'm Buddy Martin.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate that, buddy.
I noticed you pointed out in the in some of the stuff with our producer research that it's important to know not just about concussions, but even the law regarding concussions and how it affects kids in sports and the parents. Talk about that some, would you?
Sure, absolutely. With regards to the legal side of concussions, pretty much most 50 states do have some sort of legal wranglings, if you will, with regards to concussions and what to do in the return to play guidelines and things of that nature. Some of them are a little more older than others, the laws in the books with regards to concussions of what to do, but they're all getting updated to some way, shape, or form as to what to reflect more what the medical world seems to have knowledge of concussions today. And what that means with regards to the legal side of concussions is what parents or what athletes can do if a league or association or a coach or a trainer fails to do, or even a doctor fails to address an athlete or a person with a concussion properly, and then there's legal recourse that they can do with that.
Yeah. Are you confident that sports is doing something about this issue? I've noticed there's a lot more sports now. You never heard of basketball having a concussion. Now you have players being held out for concussions in basketball. It makes you wonder how many times people got concussions we never knew about.
Well, exactly, and I think with a lot of the media coverage that concussions is getting, and some high-profile athletes have been knocked out of on various sports, that a lot of the leagues are sort of standing up, maybe not as much as they should, but they are standing up in some way, shape, or form to err on the side of caution, making players sit out or getting some sort of treatment or diagnosis to make sure that they have had a concussive incident and deal with it properly before sending them back to play, because there are some very high risk factors for athletes going back in that are susceptible to second impact syndrome, which has a very high mortality rate with regard to second impact. So they want to make sure that it is dealt with properly, because it's their backsides that are on the line too if they're not treating an athlete properly with regards to a concussive incident.
Dave, where do you where's your program air, first of all, and what are you talking about on Beyond the Cheers?
Well, I talk about everything from A to Z and everything in between with regards to sports, whether it's concussions, bullying, athletes with breast cancer, whether it's different methodologies of dealing with a lot of different things with regards to athletes, or talk about the Olympics when they're in season, or anything, anything way, shape, or form. The show itself is based in Canada. However, the listening audience I do have with a number of affiliates in the U.S. market has a fairly extensive listening audience in the United States, and that's where my market is.
Speaking of that, my best friend was Canadian when I grew up here, and he was 14. All he talked about was hockey, and of course that's a rough sport. He finally took me to a game to see the Maple Leafs play in the old Maple Leaf Gardens, and I got a chance to see that the very first sporting event professionally I saw was a hockey game, believe it or not. But that's a rough sport, and who knows how many guys have got concussions in that sport. You got plenty of them in that sport, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. And, I think even looking at the U.S. teams, a lot of the teams out there, there's still about 50 to 60% Canadian content of the players on there. But regardless of that, too, it's not only just in hockey, but other sports. A lot of these athletes are not are when they do have a concussive incident and they know that something's not right, a lot of them don't speak up for fear of losing their spot on the roster, losing their spot on the team, and things like that. But I think a lot of the players are getting a little more education out there that this is something you don't treat lightly with concussions. And we recently seen Junior Sao in the past year taking his own life, and he was diagnosed with having multiple concussions and what leads to chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is a degenerative disease of the brain.
We're talking with Dave Ferguson of Beyond the Cheers radio show. Dave, this is Tom Schmitz here. Now, I played football all the way through college, and I remember back 20 years ago when I played, you get your bell rung, and the coach said, "Schmitz, I'm holding up 2 fingers. How many fingers do you see?" And you'd say 2, and he'd say, "You're good. Get back in the game." That's not the case now. Where is technology at with these injuries as far as protection, headgear? How far has that advanced recently?
It's come a long way, but you're never going to find a concussion-proof helmet from what the manufacturers tell me, because number one, the helmet was just too heavy to wear, and number two, it's just the technology is there to a point of protecting your noggin, but you can still get blows to the body as opposed to direct blows to the head that will cause a concussive incident, because it causes a rotational or a lateral movement of the jello inside of your brain matter. Basically, what they refer to as jello, because it flops around a little bit similar to jello inside your skull. So, but there are technologies out there. Mouth guards there's a company just recently going to be kicking something off in the fall in the U.S. market. It's a brand new mouth guard out there that detects without too much questionability the number of concussive incidents that a player may or have received, whether it's a hit to the body or a hit to the head. So technology is coming a long way, and I think that's the only product that I foresee coming out on the market that's going to be it's going to take some of the guesswork, but not all of it, but take some of it out of labeling a player that's had a concussive incident. There's a lot of other product on the market that I wouldn't bother entertaining looking at this point, other than that one.
All right, final question for Dave Ferguson from BeyondTheCheers.com, and it has to do with full contact sports. What's the future for sports like football and hockey, Dave?
I think you're still going to see contact. The players and a lot of the things I've been reading is there's a finite line with regards to football as how far it's going to go. I know there's some training that's going on by an ex-football player out in California who's training athletes specifically in football how to give and receive hits properly. I think if we are able to, and I don't want to take the context out of the game just because it that detracts away from the intent of football, the intent of hockey, all these other contact sports, and even soccer and cheerleading that have a high rate of concussion as well, and they're not even really a contact sport at all. But we need to get smarter with regards to players reporting it and people taking a look at what's going on with concussions and giving and receiving hits. I think it goes back to the grassroots level for kids and being educated properly how to give and receive hits and minimize and really nail down those blindside hits, because the blindside hits are the ones that really cause the most detrimental possibility of a concussive incident, because if your body can see something coming at it, it does brace itself as a natural instinct for that hit. If you can't see it, then you haven't got an opportunity to brace and get your body ready, prepared for that hit. So it's the blindside hits that we really need to crack down upon in any sport that are contact sports, to try and minimize the possibility of concussive incidents occurring, and nail it down that way.
All right, Dave Ferguson, BeyondTheCheers.com, Beyond the Cheers radio program. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
All right. All right. I think we got a long way to go before we know much about that. We still haven't made a whole lot of headway, in my opinion.
Well, you know a lot about concussions because you sit next to me, and you know that I'm, brain dead practically.
You know, I have to stop you upside the head down. They get you started,
well,
too.
And that's all from being concussed, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I had a couple of them myself,
Pretty
by the
sure.
way. I had a couple of those, not like you did. All right, I want to get to a couple of points so we take a break. One of them was, I asked the question, what two Florida schools saw the increase in alumni license plates last year? JJ, you go first.
Florida Gulf Coast.
Florida, there's two of them. Which one?
UCF.
UCF, okay. Tom, what do you say?
I would go with Florida International and USF.
Both of you got one of them.
Florida International.
USF
and
UCF.
Wow.
Well, UCF is the biggest university in the state, by the way.
There's a lot of people there.
Yes.
And it's a lot of it city schools, students, too, who live right there and work,
yeah.
Whatever. So it's big, yeah. And I had this conversation yesterday with Jimbo Fisher and some other people off the air about whether or not FSU would, I actually asked him on the air, I said, do you think there'll ever come a time for you to be able to make headway so that you might become the major university in the state of Florida? And he said, well, we are the major university.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we know that's not true. It's still Florida by a mile, but it has been fragmented by UCF, USF, Florida National, all these other schools, not like it once was when we have, we had Florida as the dominant school by far. Of course, we have a lot more people. What do we have here, 15 million people here now or something?
Right.
So there's room for more. But I wonder, and I heard it again today. I saw our friend NASCAR Todd Swearingen at breakfast this morning.
You saw Todd Swearingen?
I did. He was with his son, yeah. And we talked about this very thing, and he said that he once again said he has a number of friends who sent their kids to FSU because they couldn't get them in at Florida, and they were great students. And they're talking fifth and sixth generation people who've had football tickets from 1930s, and they're giving them up. And he said there's something going on here. And I just wonder when the University of Florida is going to wake up and smell the coffee, or if in fact they care that there's people in this town who are turned off by the attitude of what we are like Harvard up here now, or we're like we're like the NFL team or something. And I think it's going to cost them. I think it's already cost them. You know what? When those things start going backwards, it's hard to get back. I remember late Charlie Pell telling me when they got caught and all the wrongdoing they had with the NCAA in the 80s. And, of course, Florida State jumped right in there and began to become a national power. And Pell told me FSU would never have caught us if we hadn't messed up. So momentum is not something that you can, assume is going to be there forever.
No.
And they've had the ultimate run since 1990 with 3 national championships, and they've been somewhat successful in their field, but something's missing, and it has to do with the academics and the athletics, particularly the academics, because people are they feel like that they're being isolated, and they feel like Florida's become an elitist school. And there's no question. This is what people. And I talked to a guy. I think I mentioned this. His dad had tickets back in the 30s and 40s. He's dead now. He has 6 tickets. He says his tickets go in the garbage can on Saturdays. Doesn't even hardly give them away.
Damn.
Has a parking pass. Doesn't even use it. Doesn't want to drive to Gainesville anymore.
Wow.
So something's going on there. And I think schools like UCF, USF, and Florida State can make headway in Marion County, where there's some pretty good football players, and I'm sure the Marion County Seminole Club, which had a big crowd yesterday, would probably like to hear that as well. We'll take a break. We'll come back, and we will talk about what Chuck Norris says about Tim Tebow, and also we'll hear from Jimbo Fisher from yesterday's interview at Country Club Ocala, right here on Buddy Sports Page.
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Hi, this is Buddy Martin. I want to tell you about a conversation I had recently with General Manager Pat Murray on the great family atmosphere at Country Club of Ocala.
It's a family-first club. Again, we have any number of different types of memberships, but obviously the one that attracts the greatest level of interest is our family. And the reason for that is we have a little something for everybody. I mean, we obviously have a world-class golf course. We have 7 tennis courts here for all levels of tennis players. We have a junior Olympic-sized swimming pool. We have a fitness center that's second to none, and we have state-of-the-art equipment in our fitness center.
Country Club of Ocala, where the facilities are all a family would ever need. For more information, call today at 352-237-6644. That's 352-237-6644. Country Club of Ocala, proud sponsor of Monday's Gator Report and Gator Talk Thursday right here on The Source. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And so is State Farm agent Angie Lewis, working hard to serve her community as a citizen and insurance agent. Angie wants to help you as you adjust your insurance needs to your life, from everything to helping educate your teen driver to protecting your family against everyday risk. She wants to change the way you perceive insurance by developing relationships with her clients, which is why Angie and her staff are proud to be a part of so many good causes in Ocala. In turn, she has chosen to single out those who step up as leaders. Each month on the Voice of Ocala, Angie spotlights a good neighbor, saluting those who give exceptional service or do random acts of kindness to others. For this, Angie was written up in State Farm's National Magazine. Angie also supports local businesses with a regular Biz Buzz. The Angie Lewis State Farm Agency is located at 1122 Northeast 36th Avenue, where visitors are always welcome and the coffee pot is always on. Call your good neighbor's State Farm agent today, Angie Lewis, at 294-2444.
Phoenix Promotional Solutions, your company supplier of banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Where you give them approved artwork by noon, the next day by 4 p.m., you pick up your banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404. That's 368-2404. Don't forget, they do vehicle wraps also. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404.
The sound of the bat cracking, the crowd cheering, the smell of overpriced but tasty hot dogs, the memories that will last a lifetime of your first baseball game with little Johnny. Your team wins. It was a great night until you get home. It's 9 p.m. and your wife says you have no water.
We have no water.
What do you do?
What do you do?
Rule number 1, don't panic. Remain calm. Okay, that's 2 rules.
We don't have time for jokes, funny man.
Okay, think back. On the way home, you heard a radio commercial.
Mike Scott Plumbing. If water runs through it, we do it.
Eureka. You saved the day. You remembered that Mike Scott Plumbing doesn't charge extra for nights, weekends, or holidays. You are a genius.
Hey, Mr. Genius, did you remember the phone number?
Of course you did. Remember, you're a genius. 352-237-2888. Because at Mike Scott Plumbing, if water runs through it, we do it. Even if water's not running through it at this particular moment. Mike Scott Plumbing.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, and a new spoiler, and a new
trunk.
Yep,
we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Hi, this is Joe, and I'm your host for the new show, Damage Control, every Tuesday morning at 10:30 a.m., brought to you by Damage Control Services. We're going to be discussing floods, fires, storm and tree damage, sinkholes, mold, and many other disasters that you need to know about, how to prevent and prepare for them, as well as what to do when it happens and what to expect after it happens. This is Damage Control, Tuesdays at 10:30, right here on The Source.
Yesterday, love was such an easy game to play. I need a place.
Hi, welcome back to Buddy Sports Page. Talking to some of the Knowles yesterday about the grand old Noel himself, Jim Kirk, in his town. Jim Kirk, he carried the garnet and gold colors when nobody was a fan of FSU, and he had, his best friends were all Gator fans, and still does, by the way, Jim does, and I hope Jim's doing well. He's, of course, a former mayor and councilman and founder of WMLP Radio, and really one of the real classic people, one of the great iconic figures of our community, and he started the FSU Football Network the first year he did the broadcasting on it. And so he's seen FSU come from afar. And I was talking to some of the people yesterday at the Country Club about, he needs to be honored. I know they have a scholarship in his name, but he needs to be honored in this community for a lot of things, not least of which he gave the Marion Theater to the city. He needs to be honored by Seminoles because, you want to stand on somebody's shoulders, as they say, there's a great one to stand on. Meanwhile, the Noles kind of think they might be pretty good, guys. They think they might be talking to the coaches yesterday, talking to Gene Deckeroff. They think they'll be pretty decent. They're ranked preseason in one poll 14. I don't know all the rest of them, but
the rest of them aren't out yet.
When I was on my way up to Jacksonville, I listened to your interview with him, and the thing that surprised me the most, and I saw that it had surprised you too. They have more juniors and seniors coming back this year than they had last year.
It did surprise me.
I did not. That surprised me when I heard that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that's one reason he's pretty confident about it. Is he thinks his quarterback is. By the way, the guy's name is Jameis
Winston.
It's not James. People think it's a typo, the I, but his name is Jameis Winston. And I said to Coach Fisher, I said, all I know is I saw a guy field a ball in right field in a college game and throw a rope to third base to throw a guy out. Then I realized who it was, Jameis Winston. He's a heck of a baseball player as well. And Jimbo says he has no problem with a guy playing, but he's trying to say the competition is open, that there'll be another guy that he thinks might have a shot. But if this guy lives up to the billing, they got him a quarterback, and as Tom says, they have a lot of experience on this team. So I think they're feeling pretty good. Let's go to the tape, as they say in television, and see what Jimbo Fisher had to say yesterday about the Florida State Seminole football team.
Let's talk about the ratings. You had a quote here about the fact that you didn't like those computers. And this is an old quote, and if it's not current, that's fine. But you said from last year, you liked the pre-BCS system where human pollsters ranked the teams. You were old school. Mm-hmm. In a way, there is a certain purity about that. In a way, there was even a purity about teams playing for the national championship according to the draw they got in the bowl game versus a preconceived notion that this team was ranked, that team was ranked. You had to go out and earn it and win it and whatever. There were flaws in that system. However, you didn't like the computer aspect, and your quote was regarding the fact that that they kind of did a number on you in the polls. You said, I think it stinks. I think the BCS and how we do it with these computers, I think we're ruining it, you said. And the playoff isn't going to solve it either. They've got to change how we pick the teams in this country. It's not working. I think it was better the old days when you did it by the eye test when you didn't have a championship game. That is really old school.
It really is. And like I say now, I don't think there even should be a poll to the 5th or 6th week of the season. I think preseason polls are great, but the problem about it is if certain teams get up there and they get ranked and nothing ever happens, or they lose once, they don't ever drop.
Yeah.
And I think you got to be careful once you put people up there without even knowing. Each team has a 1-year life expectancy. A team it can grow no more than 1 year. It's never the same after that. So I don't know how you can precede. It's all on what you think. Let them play and find out. And then that's after the 5th or 6th week, find out who's playing, who's doing what, the matchups that came out, and then you start your poll system. And because there was a time last year, to give an example, there was a team that was from the West Coast, somewhere 7-4 at one time. We were 10-1. 2 of the polls, we weren't in the top 25, and they were 15. Now you figure that out. And our league had the second most players drafted behind the SEC. So we're playing great competition. So my point being, I think there's too much indiscretion. That's like the playoff. I like the playoff system. I like what we're trying to get to and all that. But again, it's the whole key to this, how you pick the team. I think that's going to be the key. It doesn't matter. You could have 14 playoff, 18 playoff, 16-team playoff, or 2 teams, just like we did. But how you pick them has got to be the constant and the thing that makes the difference, because you want to have the best 2 teams in what goes on.
So you rather have Al and me and Sean and Mickey
picking the teams than some computer over there. Is that right?
If you have knowledge of football and the expertise, I think yes. I mean, I think there's some things computers can give you. I understand, but a computer's only as good as what you put in it. But I still think being able to, if people have knowledge of the game and what goes on, and I think if you eliminate polls until the 4th, 5th, 6th week of the season, whatever that may be, I think you eliminate some of those.
Well, technically they do that. They don't only vote in the BCS polls.
No, they don't.
But they have pretty good polls. And you're right about one thing, though, that if you aren't in the top 20 in those preseason,
it's hard to,
you're not going to catch up.
You can't. I mean, and teams get up there, and certain teams lose, and they don't really get punished for how it goes on. You know what I mean? The weight of each loss. And I think you got to be very careful how you do this. And that's why I think picking this, I like where we're going, and I think picking this system in which we're about to have, getting the right people to pick the teams is going to be the key component to all this.
Your schedule bit you a little bit last year because of something of not your doing. You
West Virginia just get out of the game.
Yeah,
which,
and so that hurts you.
But in their defense, I mean, I'm not defending West Virginia, but they had to do what they had to do to get in the conference.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
but you had to pay a price for that.
Exactly right, big price, and that would have been a great game, a big money maker, great home game. But I mean, that's why I say how you write these contracts now, because there's buyouts in them, and it wasn't our doing. And people say, you think you can go out and find a game, especially with about 6 months left? You can't find them with 6 years left, let alone with 6 months left. It's hard scheduling. People don't realize how hard scheduling is today, and people not wanting to play home and home series, making sure they want as many home games as they can because those home games got to pay for all the other sports. Yeah. And it's a very tough thing to do.
And I look at your schedule right now. As a matter of fact, we said earlier, you open on the road at Pitt. That's no picnic.
No.
You got people look at Nevada. Nevada can move the football.
There's a quarterback out there named Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah,
pretty good in the NFL. They've done a great job at Nevada now.
You got the food equipment, which shouldn't be a big problem for you. Boston College, of course,
on the road conference game,
right? At Boston College, it's always never good at Chestnut Hill. Even though, then you got Maryland, Clemson, one of your real rivals, NC State, Miami, and let's be honest, the Miami-Florida State series hasn't been what it had been over the years. But maybe Al Golden's got it. Going a little better now.
They've got good players now. They got 10 guys back on offense. Got a very experienced quarterback, and they're much better on defense. So they'll be much improved.
I think they will be.
And they actually, people don't realize they actually won the other side of the Atlantic last year.
That's right.
They elected not to go to the championship game.
I forgot about that.
So they won that other side. So I mean, Miami's got a very good club.
I think Al Golden's a good football coach.
I think he does a good job. I think they've done a good job recruiting, and they're going to be right there. They're Miami.
Wake Forest, of course. You never know what you're going to get there. Syracuse, that's a new name for you now.
And Syracuse in the past is always had a great program.
But you get them at home, you have to go to the Carrier Dome, which is good there.
Exactly.
And then Idaho, which is a little bit breather. And, of course, you got the Gators on the 30th at Gainesville. So that's a little more difficult schedule, I think.
It is. We got some great road games, great home games. The ACC, as I say, people are finding out. I'll give you a stat. The SEC and the ACC are the only two leagues that have had 30 players or more drafted for 9 consecutive years. Not the Big Ten, not the Pac-12, not the Big. Everybody talks about those other leagues. The ACC, talent-wise, is a very, very good football league.
Let me ask you a couple questions, and Al, you can chip in here on this too as a fan and, of course, a supporter of the program. There's been a lot of discussions about league play, the SEC. I know Nick Saban says he's in favor of an 8-game SEC schedule. Talked about that. There's also been a little conversation. Saban said something about he thinks it'd be nice to have a national conference. Your thoughts about either one of those things? Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
A national conference? I didn't hear
that. Well, you take, it's just a supposition, where you say, let's take the 6 best teams from each conference and schedule them. So you put UCLA or whoever on your schedule.
Great matchups. You develop a lot of money. You develop a lot of interest. It would grow the interest of college football. I wouldn't be against that. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, you got the National Football League format, but in college football, which is a hot game right now.
I don't think that's a bad thing. And I think the diversity of letting these kids play, different teams, different opponents, different atmospheres and environments. And I'm going to tell you something you got to be careful of. 8 conference games are good. We're in 8 now. But the thing about it, you're in a 14-team conference, okay, like we are now. Really a 15 when Notre Dame's kind of in and out with what we're doing. They're in 5 games a year, and other teams are getting that. I think it's important if you play in a conference. I hate to ever walk out and a kid in 4 years never get to play everybody in that league at least once.
All right, Jimbo Fisher, head coach of Florida State. The Al I referred to was Al Dunlap, who, of course, is the guy who's the generous donor of $15 million worth of stuff in Tallahassee, including an indoor practice arena. So I think Al probably can sit at the table with Jimbo anytime he wants to.
Well, that's another thing about that interview is we just gave you a little blurb of it. We're going to make a podcast of it. Jimbo Fisher talked about in that interview how that practice facility that Al Dunlap helped fund, how that he believes not only will it help facilitate on the field, but he thinks it helps with education too. But and I hadn't thought about the way education can get affected by you having rain and storms and on. You know, he pointed out that you have to reschedule tutors and reschedule study hall and everything when you got a practice facility like this. You don't have to upset that pattern.
Yeah. Talking about the quarterback situation, he really likes Jameis Winston, but he said don't rule out Jacob Coker. He's 6'6", freshman from Mobile, and if something happens, he likes his game. He says it will be an open competition for quarterback, although he knows Jameis Winston is his guy. Winston's 6'4", and he's 206 pounds, also freshman, and from Hueytown, so a couple Alabama boys in there playing in Tallahassee.
Winston's sort of like a cult hero already.
Yeah, he's
especially with his baseball stuff.
Yeah.
He throws like 97. He plays out of the bullpen.
Right. He plays the outfield, plays
sick
pitches.
Athlete, man.
Yeah. Looks like a really good athlete. So I guess a Charlie Ward type guy, who was a great athlete there as well. So and the other thing that Jimbo said, I asked you about, is he going to be able to plug in and run this team? He said yes. He said because he has so many juniors and seniors at the other positions that he feels like the quarterback doesn't have to win the game. So he says, but he can definitely make the plays. He can make the throws, makes all the throws, deep throws, whatever. So they're kind of excited about it up there. And I think FSU's schedule needed to be upgraded, and it did. I think it helped them a great deal. And I asked about E.J. Manuel was he surprised that E.J. Manuel was drafted by Buffalo in the first round. He said no. He had him listed. He thought he'd be a late first round pick. And he said they're getting a heck of a player. And he said he's very smart. I said what he said when he got up there, he said, the Buffalo Bills playbook is not as hard as the FSU playbook. And Jimbo said, yeah. He hasn't seen the rest of the Buffalo Bills playbook.
He's only been working there 3 days.
Yeah, he'll see that when they start giving the whole playbook. So, anyway, a few thoughts about the Seminoles. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Got hoop tonight, JJ?
No.
Another
Friday night.
I'm so used to having games every night.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden it's wait. So.
And it's weird because Friday night is also game 2 of the Heat series, so they're just totally
I don't understand that
skipping
at all.
around.
Yeah.
I don't really understand.
All right, we'll take a break. More to come right here on Buddy Sports page on
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase process effects trade allowance.
Mayday! Mayday! Our buyer blew it. He ordered 38 cars instead of 8. And now we have got way too much inventory.
Hey, this is Chris Spears from Prestige Auto Sales. I've got to sell these 30 cars extra fast. I'm going spastic, so I've got to do something drastic.
Qualified buyers with $5 down can drive a nicer, newer car today. Who knew $5 could get you a nicer, newer car?
Well, it can because I'm in a jam.
Is bad credit causing you distress? My For the People credit approval process just may save the day. Get approved for a nicer, newer car you'll love. Mayday! Mayday! Get down to Prestige Auto Sales right away. The Mayday Madness ends after we've cleared 37 cars.
My name is Chris Spears, and I'm a dealer for the people.
Visit Prestige Auto Sales or call 694-1234. See you at Prestige.
Hi, I'm Lisa Midget with Kinetic Motion Fitness, Ocala's premier small group and personal training fitness studio. Did you know you can achieve all your fitness goals, whether that's losing weight, getting fit, or training for a personal best, all with no membership fees? Have you ever been embarrassed or intimidated at a big gym because you're not a Greek god or a size 0 supermodel? Have you ever felt like your gym would rather you not even show up? At KMF, we have a team approach that focuses on small classes and personal training, and you'll feel like family, not just another number. No more boring treadmills or endless reps. Our classes are fun, energetic, and get you the results you want. And I should know, with the help of our great trainers, I lost over 100 pounds in 8 jean sizes, and I did it using no heavy equipment and no magic pills, just fun and effective workouts. And yes, I did say fun. Come join us at KMF. Visit our website at kmfocala.com or like us on Facebook. Again, that was kmfocala.com.
Oh, it's cold in here. Ooh, it's hot in here.
It's just right in this house.
Looks like 1 out of 3 know about climate control mechanical services in Ocala. The first didn't call 291-0185. The second didn't know to call 291-0185. The third called 291-0185. So the moral of the story? To know is one thing, but to know and take action is another. Climate control mechanical services. Just right.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Keeping up with people on Facebook can actually increase lonely feelings. Virtual connections, ultimately they leave you feeling empty. People who volunteer, play sports, or join clubs with their coworkers are more likely to get a raise than people who are less involved with their coworkers. Using the GPS too much causes that area of the brain to atrophy, which increases our risk for memory problems, even dementia and Alzheimer's.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram, CEO of Gateway Bank, inviting you to drop by our main office on Silver Springs Boulevard every Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. for the Community Gazette, a 3-hour show focusing on our favorite community to live and work, Ocala, Marion County. Come join us with the voice of Ocala, Buddy Martin, in the new old-fashioned bank radio studio as we discuss a variety of interesting topics on the Community Gazette on WOCA The Source.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're ocalaforsale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to ocalaforsale.com. License and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, loss proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
All right, back on Buddy Sports Base. Time to go to Gainesville and talk to our intrepid correspondent, one Franz Beard. Hello, Francis.
Good afternoon, Francis Martin.
I wanted to ask you.
We share the same first name.
Yes, we do. Mine's a middle name, though. Yours is the first. Are you, and it's my grandson's middle name, too, are you aware of the fact it's 99 days for college football season?
I know. It can't get here fast enough as far as I'm concerned. I'm ready for it.
I'm looking at the story. A noon kickoff. Boy, that's rare. You know? Of course, ESPN needs to get the game on. So Florida Miami playing at noon. When's the last time that ever happened?
I know. Well, you know, you would think that'd be a night ball game, but I think that's a game that has an awful lot of potential to be a terrific football game. The time playing it, I think, in the afternoon heat, I think maybe benefits Miami a little bit, but Miami, I think, it playing them early in the season, I think Miami doesn't have as much depth as some of the other teams, for example, as Florida has, playing early when they shouldn't have that many injury problems, et cetera, like that. I think this really has a terrific possibility to be a great game.
3:30 game for Georgia, Florida, Georgia, et cetera, et cetera. I saw you posted on Facebook about the All Sports Trophy. I mean, it's a nice honor. I don't get too excited about it, but you got to give credit to Foley. There's no question about that. They've had a well-rounded program, and as we see now, the softball team is hot right now as well. So you were impressed by it.
Well, here's the thing that it tells you. It tells you that you're good at finding good coaches, giving them what they need to win, and keeping them in place. How many coaches come here to Florida and go to another job? Not many. Most of the coaches, they either come here and win, or if they come here and win and stay a while, or else they end up being replaced. And to Foley's credit, he's done a really good job of picking winners.
Baseball team, not so much. Kevin O'Sullivan having his bad year. They went to a tailspin at the end of the year. It looks like they're probably not going to get in a tournament. I guess it's just a real big rebuilding year after losing all that talent they had for 2 or 3 years.
Hey, they just lost too much talent, and
they had the advantage of having, when these young guys came up, there were already some players on that team. Yeah, I'm talking about the ones that just departed. When those players who departed came up as freshmen, there were young guys. They were young guys who had guys who had been part of championships teams mentoring them, and then not too many of them left this year. These guys kind of had to make it on their own, and not a good year. Not a lot of leadership. Injuries to the pitching staff didn't help at all. Crawford got hurt. Karsten Whitson missed the whole season. And then you throw in the fact that you lose about 30 home runs out of Zunino and Preston Tucker, and they had no power at all. I mean, they only hit about 27 home runs for the whole year, which is fewer home runs